Hello, my friends, my family, esteemed colleagues. I was asked to address uh, the dialysis principles and how effective it is it necessary, how often should it be performed. Well, it is important to understand one thing, that the body is programmed to cleanse itself, to maintain itself. For this, it needs plasma. The lower we are on our plasma, the poorer cleansing of the body will be. And we are inevitably becoming more and more toxic. The toxins we receive from food, vegetables, stuff like this, are not very strong toxins, but they are strong enough to prevent cellular hydration, and they have to be cleansed out. So more of incorrect diet we have, the more we have to cleanse. And when we cleanse, we do not lose water. We lose plasma because body does not contain water. It can only contain water in electroconductive state, which we call plasma. And this state is achieved through minerals, and the way of mineralizing is through salts. Since people are accepting the indoctrination and the science, they are starting to eat more and more vegetables and consuming less and less salt. I explained many times, when eating correctly animal products, we received plenty of minerals because animal cannot survive without being properly mineralized. It is not so with plants. Yet we are being told that we receive our minerals only if they are bioactivated through plants, which is utter nonsense. And I point why, because herbivores should be in the least of need for salt, and they are actually requiring salt the most. So how does that work? Because the science we are being told is flipped around. It's incorrect. Now, not to make the video too long again, let's zero on dialysis. More toxic we become. The reason for it is low plasma, which means lower level of plasma we have in a body, the blood gets denser, but also the body cannot waste water, plasma. So it starts cleansing less and less, and the toxins remain in the body. Now, cells also have to hydrate to cleanse. They mostly cleanse acids. And the cell may release the acid, but what happens if we are low on plasma? These acids are not that problematic. So if the body cannot eliminate it, well, it stores them in a tissue. They get stuck. They may even crystallize, causing crystalline forms, rocks. Now, those crystalline stuff is not from the salt you take. This is what people always are getting confused. Oh, brain turns into salt. Nonsense. But uric acid will crystallize. Usually when it crystallizes, it also contains other minerals that body is producing. And since it cannot eliminate them, well, they become part of the crystal that is formed. So less plasma we have, the more toxic we are becoming. More toxic blood, cells close down. They run out of their plasma as well, and they become more and more acidic. So when they release some acids, that's high concentration. When that hits the blood, it creates symptoms of high toxicity, which then have to be eliminated. And if there is no plasma, it's going to be stuck in a tissue. So this is state of toxicity of the body on every level is increasing with age because it's cumulative process. There are signs that we are dehydrated, which is dark urine, and then less and less urination. We don't feel thirsty and stool is soft because we are constantly poisoning ourselves through plants. So even the absorption through the intestines is poor, and a lot of plasma remain, leaving the stool soft. So now going strict into, you see, everything is connected, so it's very difficult to talk only about one thing, because then million questions come, why this and why that and why that. So unless you address these things, after short explanation, you become more confused than ever. So eventually, kidney cells become very acidic. Kidney tissue and tissue in the body becomes very acidic. When they are very acidic, they don't hold electric charge, which means the performance is down. Now, when blood is not cleansed well, we said, it's a kidney problem. Well, maybe yes, maybe not. Maybe it's simply not enough plasma. But what is being done? People are put on machines to cleanse their blood. We call it blood dialysis, hemodialysis. It's the same thing. Now, what these machines do and why we go there? Because more toxic you get, and more toxic is the tissue. The lymph that goes in this tissue becomes toxic, and by the program, it is not allowed to go rapidly back into the bloodstream, because it would make blood very toxic, which is already low on plasma, so it cannot detoxify. So the lymph is being prevented to go back rapidly. And slower is the flow of lymph, the more toxic plasma will be retained in a tissue. And we call it water retention. It's actually toxic plasma retention. Now we are educated to look at it as, we have too much salt and body is holding water. But it's actually contrary. We don't have enough salt, so we cannot have enough plasma to actually cleanse. So we are retaining toxic acids, and then the lymph that comes there gets retained there because it becomes very toxic, and it's not allowed to go out. Now, of course, when you start drinking, you hear, okay, I should be drinking more. You start drinking a little bit more. If you are drinking plain water, you don't get this effect, because again, water comes into the blood, goes into kidney. In the kidneys, it gets into glomerule. And then from glomerule, what is reabsorbed is as proper as possible electroconductive liquid, which means if you did not have enough minerals, And now what comes in the glomerule is water with no minerals, or very small amount of minerals that were in the blood. Well, body will try to reabsorb the minerals with a quantity of water that is suitable. Which means, since there's not enough minerals, most of the water that you drank will be eliminated and go into urine. And you may have clear urine, because you are not cleansing, you are just eliminating surplus of water that you cannot bound. And if you are eating incorrectly, then you also have toxic environment in intestines that traps water there, and you may have reasonable stool, although your body is crying for water. And if the intestine would not be poisoned, it would soak everything in, but it can't because it's poison. Same as cells cannot soak in because blood is toxic, it's poison. And you cannot cleanse the blood because there is not enough salt and water, plasma. So now you go on dialysis machine. So what are you are being told that you are retaining too much water. You should not drink water because everything you drink, it starts getting trapped in the tissue. You are so freaking acidic. So they give you hemodialysis basically to suck the water out of you. And then they instruct you, don't even think about salt. Zero salt. And as drier and drier you become, you cannot even urinate because there is nothing to produce urine. They say, well, kidneys failed. They didn't fail, they have nothing to work with. That's the problem. The hemodialysis is actually designed to suck the water out of you so your tissue are not swollen. But what happens is that by doing so, they are not really cleansing you. The machines work they are shitty. They don't work like this, but they are taking the water out of you. So doctor is happy. Okay, you had 5 liters of water too much in your body. We took 3 liters out. Be careful, don't drink much and don't take salt because you cannot have. There's nothing to do with this. They are interfering with the body's mechanism and programming to self-maintain, cleanse, and heal itself. So whenever you start going on dialysis, this is the end. Because here doctor will screw you all the way. There is no recovery. Well, not recovery through them. What would be much better action that was done in past is bleeding. You open the vein and get pint of toxic blood out. And do it every month. Now people say, oh, that's erythrocytes, you are going to lose your red blood cells, your immune system will go down, blood cells, da-da-da. That's utter nonsense. Women have menstruation. They lose blood every month. And they are in much healthier state than men because of that. So forget about freaking blood dialysis. Donate your blood. Just let them take out the blood from you. Well, but often they analyze your blood and say, well, your blood is too thick, it's not suitable. Yeah, because it's very toxic. And if you start drinking water with salt, then your body will start hydrating. But your tissue is very toxic. So you produce more blood, more of it turns into lymph as it goes deeper and deeper into your tissue, which is very acidic and toxic, and it gets trapped in there. and you blow up like a balloon. You get water retention like crazy. And it can even impede your breathing. This is the reason why doctor says, well, don't drink water, don't have salt, because this way they can control your inflammation and water retention, actually. But it is working against you. It is working against the body. A better way of dialysis is peritoneal. When they use the peritoneum, because remember, mucosal tissue does the cleansing. But then they inject you with liquids to actually help elimination. But this is all superficial, targeted stuff. The rest of the body is suffering. Drinking plasma is the way, but in worse shape you are, and once when you're on blood dialysis, you are extremely acidic. Then the recovery is very problematic because you are going to be retaining plasma and cleansing very slow. So you have to really bring a high level of plasma to run the diarrhea for detox, but you are going to be blowing up. You may have problem breathing. So some say, well, you got to alkalize the body. You see, this is, you bring alkaline thing. Well, again, I call this childish reasoning. You have acid, so you put alkalinity, and it neutralizes acids, and you're fine. Well, but a body is not a dish or dirty garment. Body runs on programs. And blood is always alkaline, slightly alkaline, 7.4, give or take 0.5. So it's slightly alkaline. How come that lymph becomes acidic? Well, because lymph becomes acidic when it goes into toxic tissue, it cannot return too quickly into the blood because it would interfere with the blood's alkalinity. And if you drop the blood's alkalinity, if you make it less, not even acidic, less alkaline, if you go down below 7.35, if you go to 7.3, you go in coma. This is why the toxic acidic lymph cannot quickly return. It is all controlled by programs that can only seep. The more toxic it is, the less it can seep in, and you blow up more if you hydrate. So there is old method how to get the toxic lymph, because most of this stuff is subcutaneous, underneath the skin in the connective tissue, because body is designed as the ultimate stage of cleansing when its blood is very toxic and it's low on plasma, to try to shoot it out through the skin where it loses least amount of plasma. Bad skin is exactly caused by this. Creams, poking this stuff out and putting some creams, this is a baloney approach. You have to go from the inner body, from the blood. Blood has to be clean. And then tissue can start cleaning and well hydrated. So in the past, people were solving this through cupping. So they heat up cups and they put them on a skin. As the air cools down, it creates suction. And through suction, it sucks directly out the subcutaneous liquid, which is very toxic. When we have this toxic liquid, if you get burned by sun, it's just you have developed big pleaks. The bigger pleaks you have when you sunburn, that's indication that you are more and more toxic. As a young kid, whenever I got sunburned, I mean, I got these pleaks. You can peel the skin later on like crazy, which means I was extremely toxic. So can you imagine from a young age, and if you continue not hydrating and living according to the science, you become so toxic. It is incredible how the body can survive with such a high amount of toxicity. Alkalizing, drinking alkaline water, it's utter nonsense because you cannot over-alkalize blood either. If blood's alkalinity goes higher than 7.45, it is going to also go into hallucination. You will die even if it's too alkaline or too acidic. So by drinking the alkaline stuff, you are just forcing body to eliminate more of what it cannot use. You are putting burden on the body. While the only thing you have to do is increase blood plasma levels. But now how do you deal with deposited toxins when you are already in such a very heavily toxic state? Well, cupping, saunas, force it through the skin, and leeches. Leeches will suck also directly like cupping. They just suck out the toxic liquid and help you detoxify. Much more effective than any of these baloney machines for hemodialysis. But, anybody can do it. And then the industry is deprived of their income. So they are ridiculing these old-fashioned techniques, laughing at them, and saying, "Oh, we have machine. Those machines will do the squat." They are not improving cleanliness of your blood. Maybe this much, but at the same time, they take this much of your water and make it this much worse for your body. Okay? So, unless we can be correctly helped, it is very difficult to switch from dialysis. And I had a friend from Croatia, from Zagreb, using my protocol to go, but he was very brave and he was withstanding when the acid started pouring out of him through mucosal tissue into the colon. When he went to bathroom, he needed fire hose. The acid was burning like crazy. When he urinated, it was burning like crazy. Now, if he would go to a doctor to see, I feel I have burning sensation when I urinate, immediately it would stand, bacterial infection, antibiotic. 100% incorrect. And further poisoning of the body through antibiotic, toxic stuff. What injures kidneys most is medicinal remedies. Doesn't matter if they are pharmaceutical or if they are coming from plants. Black pepper, cacao, coffee. Those destroy kidneys. Garlic does the same, but garlic also attacks the nerves. It goes into brain. But we are told, no, they are superfoods. Just look at those fake science, scientific alternative medicine, the pushers of supplements. You have million pages and sites on internet glorifying the health benefits of superfoods like turmeric, garlic, ginger, all highly toxic elements. But what happens? They close your cellular structure. No toxins seep into the blood. These things, although they are toxic, they are way less toxic. They create less problem to a body than those acids. And your blood feels a little cleaner and you feel better. The detox is what we call disease because it gives the symptoms. Flu symptoms are pure detox symptoms. So, how to approach someone that is already on blood dialysis? From experience with my friend and his suffering, I don't want people to go through this because it's very tough and it's not proper support because doctors, you have to lie to them and they always keep you stressed. Where will you find someone with leeches or cupping? It's very difficult to find these people anymore. So you don't have any help, relief. And if you start taking plasma, start drinking water with salt, you are going to puff up. And then there is a higher release because you are building up plasma. So now the program receives, okay, I can cleanse this much and this much. So this much more toxins will come and more toxin hit the blood. You get reaction to it. Loss of energy, pain, sweating, fever, nausea. Very uncomfortable. So, but then you understand it's a cleansing process, but still uncomfortable. And then you get into constipation because the body realizes the need for hydration, and now you eat correctly, so intestines are not toxic, and your body absorbs like crazy and absorbs every drop, making your excrement dry, leading into constipation. So if you want to slow down the hydration so you don't increase the blood plasma level rapidly, so the cleansing goes in some moderate way, then you somehow have to keep moisture also in the intestines so you can have normal stool, because you have to evacuate, because many toxins will be cleansed through mucosal tissue. How do you do that? Well, obviously you have to continue poisoning yourself with plants. So this way you can eliminate. So the absorption, intestinal absorption is slowed down. So water remains, plasma water remains in intestine, keeping your excrement soft or manageable. So approaching people on dialysis with self-release protocol, well, we have to modify the protocol a little bit, because then now they have to use some vegetables, because we have to control the speed of absorption, not to absorb too much, to slow down, and at the same time make minerals available, salt and plasma, salt and water available, but slow down the absorption, poison the intestines. This is the medicinal approach that in this case has to be utilized. Otherwise, it will be very, very difficult to deal with the symptoms of detox. The amount of plasma one would have to drink to be able to eliminate, evacuate, will be so high that the hydration will be so fast having in consideration the amount of toxins in a tissue, we would gain weight double of our normal weight. So this is how we should go about it. Definitely, everyone should start consuming some plasma, water with salt, but depending on symptoms, especially the retention, we have to then control it by poisoning the body a little bit, the intestinal digestive tract, to slow down the absorption and maintain the elimination. I hope that this answers the question. And again, if one wants to be guided, let me know. I'll do my best. And there are other people. If you are French speaking and you are listening to this, actually watching the transcription in your language, well, on my site, under schedule appointments, I have another healers that when they are familiar with my protocol and use it. Some of them are even doctors, and they speak different languages, so you can be guided. And I think that I have there French, German, probably Italian, and I don't know, some, I think there are a couple more languages there. So you are welcome to contact these people and ask them for help to assist you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching my videos, educating yourself. And if it resonates with you, well, you have awakened. And you are breaking away from the darkness, from the cabal. God bless you. Love you all. Namaste.